Are you sick of waking up with anxiety and regret after drinking? I get it. I was a weekend binge drinker, fooling myself into believing I was detoxing all week, only to retox every weekend and live completely outside of alignment with my values. As a former personal trainer who cared about health, that disconnect pushed me to finally make a change. I'm Maureen Benkovich, and this is Sober Fit Life, a podcast where we get real about alcohol, share powerful stories, and learn from wellness experts so you can thrive physically, mentally, and emotionally. Let's get sober fit. Have you ever Googled, "Am I an alcoholic?" Me too. And here's the thing, it's not a helpful question. Those quizzes just slap on a label. Yes, you are. No, you're not. But what if it's not about the label and more about how drinking actually makes you feel? That's why I created Am I Drinking Too Much? It's the quiz I wish had existed when I was searching. No scare tactics, no rock bottom required. You'll get your results and a free guide that explains gray area drinking, plus 3 science-backed strategies to reduce or interrupt cravings. Take it at soberfitchick.com/MI. That's MI, as in, am I drinking too much? soberfitchick.com/MI. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Sober Fit Life podcast. I'm your host, Maureen Benkovich. And guess what? Today, you get just me. It's my first solo recording. So bear with me. But I've had something on my mind that I wanted to share, partly through my own experiences and also the clients that I work with. And maybe someone out there is struggling with this same issue. And it's really about, how do you know if you have a problem, I'm using air quotes, with alcohol? How do you know? I used to look for that answer for years. And one of the ways I did that, and I bet many of you can relate, and I know most of my clients did this, was I would look for quizzes online, because, then I could do that anonymously and secretly. And usually for me, it would be like at 2 or 3 in the morning when I'd wake up with adrenaline and cortisol running through my system because I drank too much again. And the alcohol, most of it, by like 3 in the morning, most of it would have been processed. And then I'm left with all this adrenaline and cortisol as the byproducts of what happens when we drink alcohol. And I've talked about that on other episodes. And so my heart would be racing and I'd feel anxiety, and it would, dawn on me like, "Oh, you did it again. You drank too much. You said you were going to have 1 or just 2. And again, I had more." So then I'd, pick up my phone and first of all, probably check my texts, make sure I didn't do or say something stupid. But then I would look for tests. I'd start Googling things like, am I drinking too much? Do I have a problem? Or the dreaded question, am I an alcoholic? And I would fill out the quizzes. And again, I know many can relate to this, but I kind of fudge the answers, right? Because really what I was doing was looking for something to either give me a pass or make me feel better about the way I was drinking. And, so maybe I'd skip exactly how many drinks I was having, or I wouldn't answer the question about how often do I feel hungover or brain foggy. Is it interfering with my daytime activities? Maybe I'd skip the fact that, yes, I do black out occasionally. Don't remember conversations or movies I was watching or things that happened. So here I was taking this quiz and I'm lying to myself, right? Because I wanted some guidance, but I also sort of didn't really want anybody to tell me to stop drinking. So it's that whole conundrum. I know I'm drinking too much. I want to change my drinking habits, but I'm scared. I don't really know what that looks like. And so maybe I just don't want to deal with it. So you would take these quizzes, look for an answer, but kind of fudge it to get the answer you want. That's called confirmation bias. And that's what I would do often. There's many quizzes out there, but the deal is you can manipulate them, right? And I would get the answer that I was hoping for. You're not an alcoholic, if that question was what I looked up. And I'd be like, oh, well, there you go. Good. But then after that initial relief, I would be like, but wait, I'm still struggling because inside No matter what a quiz told me, no matter what the answer said, if it didn't label me, I still knew deep down that my drinking had become something that was a problem for me. And it didn't matter what anybody else thought. I knew internally I was struggling with it because I would share that with some of my friends, like, oh man, I think I'm drinking too much. And most of my friends didn't want to hear that because they were drinking the way they're drinking. And they kind of liked when I was drinking and partying with them, right? So they're like, you're fine. Don't worry about it. Which again, confirmation bias. That's kind of all I needed to hear for a while until the next time that I drank too much and found myself in the same situation looking for a quiz. So the truth is, I didn't need a quiz to tell me alcohol was a problem for me because I knew it in my bones. I knew it deep down. Something had changed, something had shifted, and alcohol was no longer serving me, and it was actually hurting me. And the thing I really want to point out is that question that we're all afraid to ask, but maybe do ask early in the morning when we were woken up by anxiety and the fact that we drank too much. That question, am I an alcoholic? It has so much weight. It sounds very serious. It's dramatic. And we have all been conditioned that means that applies to someone who's drinking vodka at 8 a.m, who can't stop drinking, who is on the verge of losing everything, relationships, a job. And I couldn't relate to that, right? Because that's not what was happening to me. The way I drank was mostly on the weekends, but weekends around my town started on Thursdays, and then I would what I talk about detox during the weekdays, like try to work out and eat right, sweat it out, and then I'd retox again every weekend, and every weekend I would drink more than I said I was going to. So I was always making promises to myself and then not keeping them, which is not a good feeling. So that never was the best question. Am I an alcoholic? The word alcoholic is actually outdated, medically speaking. And I am not knocking any organizations out there that use that and people that find peace and confidence in saying that, because I have very good friends who've gone through the 12-step program and has helped them immensely. And I'm so happy for them. But it wasn't going to be the way I was going to get help and support. I just couldn't relate to that label and thinking I was powerless too. So that just didn't work for me. And that sort of is the problem, is that there's so many people who feel that way that I did. And therefore we stay stuck. We didn't seek support because we didn't know there was any other kind of support out there. But the truth is, medically speaking now, the term is more alcohol use disorder. And it's a spectrum. It's a big spectrum, and people fall all along the spectrum. And I often talk about gray area drinkers who are on that spectrum. And those are people like me. Those are people like my clients who have all kinds of ways of drinking. So you can't put anybody in a box. I have clients who went to rehab and came out and said, I can moderate, and found that they couldn't. And so they sought out coaching. I've had clients who only drink 1 glass of wine a night, and they were struggling with that. And so they've taken my course or coached with me and found immense changes by giving up that 1 glass of wine a night habit. I've had coached men who are executives who have, designer wine collections and who are always closing deals over alcohol, who also struggle with the same question. Am I drinking too much? Could my life be better with less or no alcohol? So all those people, including myself, no matter how we drank, that question kept ruminating. Could my life be better? What if I didn't drink this way? What if I drank less or not at all? But then following up with that, right, is always the fear, like, I don't know what that looks like. I don't know how to do that. I've tried to stop several times, but I always go back. And so maybe this is just it. Maybe this is just how I am. So that's what I want to say is you cannot take a look at somebody and know how they're drinking. And that's why asking that question, am I an alcoholic, and filling out a quiz doesn't really help, because it's how you feel inside about your drinking. How your drinking is making you feel, right? And nobody can give the answer except for yourself. And so it has to do with being honest with yourself. So the better question isn't, am I an alcoholic? Or it's not bad enough, is it? Those aren't the right questions. The question is, could my life be better with less or no alcohol? Could I sleep better? Could I feel less anxious? Is this affecting my depression, my relationships? Could I be more present with my family, the people I love? Could I show up for myself more? And how much better could I be? What could open up for me if I wasn't drinking and thinking about drinking and thinking about how much I drank and regretting it? What could change for me? That is the question. Could my life be better? It took me a while to get to that place. But when I was filling out all these quizzes, as we do on social media, all these little side advertisements would pop up and I would see things for coaching. And to me, that resonated with me. Like, okay, because I've always been a coach. I've been a trainer, help people move them forward, get them to have progress, build confidence, self-compassion. So that system really resonated with me. And I thought, well, I'm going to try coaching because I want to change, but I need some structure and I need some guidance. So that's what really worked for me. And now as a coach, I think about this a lot because most of the clients I talk to when I first meet them have all said, yes, I've taken those quizzes and yes, I could fudge the answers and it didn't really help me. So I created a quiz, but it's not really the kind that can let you wiggle your way out of the truth. It's actually the kind of quiz I wish I had when I was searching for something that would actually help me. So it's called Am I Drinking Too Much? Keep it simple. And you can go to www.soberfitchick.com/am I, as in, am I drinking too much? Am I an alcoholic? Any am I question. You just fill it out honestly with self-compassion and drop your email and you'll get two things. You'll get personalized results, no shaming, just clarity on where you are in your drinking, and a free guide on gray area drinking so you can better understand what that means. It's not a label. It's actually a nutritional, science-backed term. And I go into that in other episodes, but I'll briefly just say it's what gray area drinking is. It is a spectrum, right? And it's not a teetotaler. So it's not those people who are drinking here and there occasionally, and occasionally means like at a wedding once a year, or they leave, half a glass of wine untouched on the table. I'd call those people unicorns. You've heard me use that term before because I'd be like, what? You're not going to finish that? So it's not those people. Gray area drinkers are anybody who's drinking more than 2 standard drinks per week. So let that sink in. More than 2 standard. Standard is 5-ounce pours. I would challenge you to measure your pour next time and see if you're not getting 2 standard drinks in one pour. I know my pours were that big, and when I was at restaurants, I would always hope for, the biggest pour. So gray area drinkers, the spectrum starts with people who are drinking 2 or more standard 5-ounce drinks per week. And then the other end of the spectrum is they're not hitting rock bottom. They don't need medical intervention. They are high functioning, working moms, businesses. They work out, they take care of themselves. They're actually concerned about their health. But they know in their bones they're drinking more than they want to. That is the gray area drinking spectrum and definition. And gray area drinkers also stop from time to time. They have stopped and then they start and usually end up right back where they were. And that's sort of the conundrum, right? Because you're like, well, I can stop for a little bit. Now, that could be 2 days for some people. And in my case, I stopped for months at a time. But I would find something else to do, like those figure contests. But when I didn't have something to distract me, I didn't last very long. I would go back to drinking because I didn't think about my drinking. I didn't try to learn from why I was drinking and be curious about it. I would just always be stuck in shame and blame. So that's what I want to try to help you understand. So if you fill out the quiz, you'll get your results. You'll get the what is gray area drinking. And then I have 3 science-backed strategies, quick strategies for you to give a try. If you're trying to take a break and you're having cravings for alcohol, and these are science-backed strategies, how to cut those cravings, how to surf the urge, how to stop and not mindlessly pour a drink. So it's a useful guide. So that's what I tried to create, was a quiz that actually had some benefits for you, give you some education, information without any sort of label or shaming, but just facts for you to make a more informed choice. So just remember, you don't have to hit some dramatic rock bottom to want better for yourself. It doesn't have to get to, it has to be bad enough, whatever that means, for you to reevaluate your relationship with alcohol. You don't need a label. You just need the truth to yourself. Is this working for me anymore? And if the answer is no, then I can help you change. Getting information can help you change. Understanding that you have the power to change your drinking habits. And I always share this with my clients too, because, and I was like this too, a lot of times you take a break, and I'm working with someone right now, and she just had 30 days of no alcohol, and then she drank again. And she's like, what is wrong with me? Why don't I get this? And really beating herself up. And I always try to remind people, how long have you been drinking alcohol? How long? And usually it's something like 45, 50 years. So why do you think this change is going to be so easy when it's an addictive drug, and you're going to be able to change it in just 30 days and master it and have it all figured out and no more cravings? It doesn't work like that. So it's having some structure and support to learn long-lasting habit change through neuroscience and coaching. That is what really helps. And also the biggest thing is self-compassion. Of course, this is going to be challenging, but, and this is going to sound cliche, what in life that truly benefits you, that is truly good for you, that you will truly transform and change from, isn't challenging. So take away that unrealistic expectation, that you should just be able to stop drinking. This is a drug. It is an addictive substance. We've been drinking it for years. There's so much tied into it. It's how we socialize. It's how we de-stress, how we calm down, how we feel boredom. It's everywhere. So have that self-compassion with yourself to know, okay, this is going to be challenging, but I want better for myself. This isn't working for me anymore. Let me be curious and try something different and try something that could work. So the first place to start is with an honest quiz. Am I drinking too much? So go to www.soberfitchick.com/am. Take the quiz, be honest. And if this short solo episode spoke to you, share it. Send it to the friend who's been quietly wondering the same thing, because I guarantee you are not alone. And if you're ready, reach out. I am happy to have a free chat. No pressure. That's not how I roll. I just want you to know you're not alone. I can relate. I've been through this process. I've helped many other people through this process, and I would love to help you too. Thanks for tuning in to Sober Fit Life, and I hope this helps you. And take the quiz. Check it out. Have you ever Googled, am I an alcoholic? Me too. And here's the thing, it's not a helpful question. Those quizzes just slap on a label. Yes, you are. No, you're not. But what if it's not about the label and more about how drinking actually makes you feel? That's why I created Am I Drinking Too Much? It's the quiz I wish had existed when I was searching. No scare tactics, no rock bottom required. You'll get your results and a free guide that explains gray area drinking, plus 3 science-backed strategies to reduce or interrupt cravings. Take it at soberfitchick.com/mi. That's MI, as in, am I drinking too much? soberfitchick.com/mi.